Welcome to these Nutz Garage, and today we're going to be making part 2 of a video I started 2 years ago where I broke down a Ford 400. I think that video's had about 14,000 views, and 2 years ago I guess I made it, and I've been I just put it off. That's what happened. I just put the video off, and now today we're up here at Clevelan Phord's, and what we're going to do is tear down the I guess this is what they would call a short block if you went and bought one. I've removed the heads off of it because in the previous video you did see where I took the heads off, kind of went through this, and a lot of you commented about things I missed, things that I misquoted or called it the wrong part or whatever. So we do have Clevelan Phord over here. He is going to help tear this down, and we're going to evaluate what we got to do to build this, get this engine built for the 78 F350. Now, like I said, 2 years has gone by. I've put it off just because I hadn't had time to come up here in the fabulous state of Kentucky and get this video made. So that's what we're fixing to do, and I do have a set of heads. Cleveland, come in here. Tell me what kind of heads like you told me to buy. He's over here off camera for now. So
351 Cleveland.
You got to squat down because of the camera. See,
Closed chambered 4V heads.
Yeah, that's
the
what
best you can use.
All right, and we are both wearing plaid. So
yeah,
we're going to get started on this and get the camera set up, and basically we're just going to tear down this short block, go through the crank, bearings and all that, kind of see what condition it's in and see what we're going to take to rebuild this engine. Alrighty, so here's the engine, and we got the heads off, we got the lifters out of it, and when I bought this truck I was told that this engine had 77,000 miles, that the miles on the odometer was original. The thing about these older trucks is once they hit 100,000 miles they would automatically flip back over to zero. So I'm assuming that this truck had 77,000 miles going by the original owner's statement. Now, in a previous video, the one that I made about this engine, somebody commented that they saw a stamp on the piston that said it was 040, which would mean the engine has been rebuilt at some point. And there it is. So, the original person, the owner, lied, which is what happens quite a bit when somebody's selling a car or truck.
Or didn't know.
Or didn't know. Maybe he said he was the original owner. If the original owner didn't know that it was rebuilt, well, maybe he's got a problem. But anyway, so what we're going to have to do, and George Reed, I don't know if y'all know who he is, but he wrote a book about Cleveland engines, said that you are capable, it is possible to go 60 over on this engine. So that's going to be the plan, is to try to go 60 over on this engine here when we rebuild it. So I guess now what we're going to do is just flip the motor upside down, or maybe take this pulley and harmonic balancer off of it, and we're going to check the bearings and crank and all that stuff, make sure they're still rebuildable. But since we know we got to rebuild it, we may be doing some other stuff to it. Alright, so let's talk about the Ford 400 engine that come out of my 1978 F350. Now, in the previous clips that you just saw when it first started, we have the short block of the engine where the heads are removed. The heads that come on this truck, I'm not reusing. I've actually bought another set of heads that are like closed chambered heads that are going to be better for this build than the heads that were originally on the truck. So there wasn't any sense of going through the heads because we're going to have a whole series on the heads in the future. So what we did was we inspected the block to the rod bearings, the crank bearings, checked the crank, the pistons, the walls of the block to make sure it was worth rebuilding. Now, I was a little bit disappointed that this engine had been rebuilt in the past. I was told that this was the original miles, Truck never went nowhere but to church and back, you know, all of that. It was a bunch of crock because the engine doesn't lie. When you take something out and you see that it's been bored 40 over, you know this engine's been rebuilt. The crank had been turned. Some of the rods that were in it have been replaced from a different engine. They weren't in order the way they should have been from the manufacturer. So there was a lot of telltale signs that, hey, this engine has been rebuilt. Now, with that being said, the engine was running in the truck. The only problem that the truck had was it had a dead cylinder, and that was one of the back cylinders. I can't remember whichever one, but it was dead. And the reason why was because it had two lifters that went down. Push rods come out, all went in the intake area, and it just kind of like spaghetti noodles. Now, I probably could have took the intake off, took those old lifters out, probably got some new push rods in it, and put it back together, and it would probably run as smooth as silk once I, you know, did some carburetor work to it and all that stuff. And I'll put some other links up here for you to go watch the video where I pulled the engine out the first time. Now, with that being said, the plans for this motor will be to take it to a machine shop. And if you do know a machine shop that's in Tennessee, Western Kentucky, Northern Mississippi, Northern Alabama, Eastern Arkansas, put them down here in the comments, because I'm looking for someone who can rebuild this engine. But they have to know Ford engines. I don't want to take it to somebody who really's not for sure with Ford engines. I want to take it to somebody that knows Fords, because I want to have this engine bored 60 over. And when you start boring something 60 over, from what I understand, you start getting to its limits. You go any further than that, and you might as well just go and make a coffee table out of it, or use it as a boat anchor, because it's junk at that point. So I need the block board 60 over. I also need a one-piece rear main seal put in the back of the block, and then I want maybe have all the caps made to hold 4 bolts. So it's 4 bolt mains, I guess is what they call it. So get all that done, and then we'll be able to get ready to reassemble it. I also have some heads that I'm going to have redone, which there'll be some videos coming up on that in the future, but, you know, head work. So, looking for a good machinist. If you know one, comment down below, as they say. So, what I have planned to do with this engine is get the crank turned or polished, get the block board and all that stuff they do to them. Then I'm going to have to get new pistons, maybe new rods, not for sure. May go with new rods, new cam. That's a roller cam, because I want to get away from the flat tappet lifters. Then maybe a new set of roller rockers as well. A lot of the upgraded parts to it. Now, the budget on this engine will probably be, honestly, between $3,500 and $5,000. Just alone to have this block prepared the way I want it, it's probably going to be between $750 and $900, just me thinking about it off the top of my head, of having all that work done. Then there's the heads. That's probably going to be another $700 something just to have, or more, to have the heads fixed. So I'm in the neighborhood somewhere around $1,500 already, and I've not even put a part in it. And I've had this question of how, if I had $1,500, how could I build this engine? In my case, my best thing, if I had $1,500, was just try to assemble it back the way it is, because everything is probably within maybe tolerance, that I could reassemble this motor with new bearings and new rings, new cam, flat tappet cam, all that kind of stuff, and maybe squeeze it out. But is it going to be an engine that I'm going to trust for 10, 20 years? Probably not. Now, if you know, or you have a build that you've done with these Ford 400s, and you've gotten away with it for about $1,500, put that down below. If you even got a video, and usually this is frowned upon, but if you have a video on YouTube of where you built an engine within that price range, put the link in the comments. I don't mind that, because what I'm trying to do is help you build an engine for within your budget. And that was a question I had, was a $1,500 400 build budget. So if you got that, put that down below. But as far as for me, I'm not going that route. I'm trying to make the engine have a little bit more torque, a little bit more longevity in life and a lot more better parts. So with that being said, I'll have those videos coming out in the future, and sorry about this light back here, it's messing with me, the sun's going down. But I'll have some more videos coming out about the 400. It may be a little while because I have a bunch of projects that I'm doing all at once. We have a house across the street we're trying to rebuild. I'll have some videos on that if you want to see that. I also have Betty White sitting over here staring at me, and she's wanting new struts in the front, and that's a 2014 Ford Fusion. I also have the truck that I'm sitting in, and this is Phil, and he's needing a whole mess of stuff, and we're gonna have a whole mess of a series on this truck, getting it ready to go on a vacation to the Grand Canyon. And also we got Rodney Knox, and he's up at Cleveland's now. We're gonna be getting that cam pulled out and swapped out in the future, so that way that whole issue with that motor is solved. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll put a link up here for Rodney and a playlist if you want to go check that out. So sorry for the delay on getting this video out on the 400. Sorry for that. It's going to be a minute that we get some more videos out on it. But like I said, I'm busy with a lot of different projects, trying to get to them all as quick as I can. Now, if you want to help me be able to get to these projects faster, all you have to do is hit that like button. If you want to help me get these builds done faster, subscribe to the channel. And if you also want to comment down below about any of these projects that I'm doing, feel free to comment down below. If you just want to say hello, just comment. I usually try to go back and reply to every comment that's put on there. So if you want to say hello, just say hello. I'll reply back. So with all that being said, thanks everybody. We've gotten over the 1,000 subscriber mark, and we're finally getting paid literally pennies for every video we make. So that's why it's so important to like, subscribe, comment, and share. So I got to get out of here, get in the house, and edit this video. So y'all have a blessed day, and I'll see you in the next video.